everyone, it's CricketSong, and in this video, this is the second video of the witch's alphabet, which means it's letter B. The word that I'm going to use today is blood. I want to begin by apologizing for the dark glasses. It's the transition lenses that I have, so because I'm outside, transition. Anyway, blood. So I'm sure you've heard before, or you even consider blood magic being the most powerful magic there is because you're using blood. I would agree that it's powerful, but I guess what I want to consider or explore is why is blood magic powerful? Why would someone use blood magic? Why would someone use blood in their spells or in their magical workings? So for me, I think about blood and what does it represent? In the body, if we didn't have blood, we wouldn't live, right? Because blood carries oxygen and nutrients and carries away waste or things that we don't want. It pumps through our heart. Blood is in our brain. Blood is in every part of our body. If we are injured and have a wound and we bleed, we could bleed out and ultimately die. So for me, along with our breath, if you can't breathe, then you can't get oxygen in, which can't be carried by the blood. Breath and blood, for me, are two very vital parts of our body, because without either, our brain won't live, our heart won't pump, right? So for me, blood is essence. It's life essence. It's life. So I would use blood in any workings that would pertain to life and death. But that's not the only thing I would use blood for. I consider the blood, if it's my own blood that we're talking about, my blood is connected to anybody else that is connected to me through DNA, because my blood carries my DNA, right? So anybody else of my bloodline, my ancestral bloodline, we're connected by that blood, whether it's for the good or bad, depending on the people that are in my, ancestry, my hereditary ancestry. But if I want to tap into the power of my grandmother, who is my paternal grandmother, I'm connected to her through my father, and I have my father's blood in me, right? I would use blood, perhaps, to link to her. I'm also tapping into the power of the bloodline that I am part of. So that's a power source, a source of power. And if I have witches in my actual bloodline, I would be connected to their power as well. I also consider that blood, because it is part of me, whether it's within my body or outside of my body, it's always tied to me. The law of contagion. Once a part of something, always a part of something. It's that idea that if you take a branch from a tree, because it was part of that tree, it still carries the energy of that tree within that branch. That's the same with blood. So if I'm trying to connect myself to a magical working, then I would use blood. It's like or even in a binding spell, I bind myself, my energy, to whatever it is that I'm doing the magic about or with. Just like within a hand fasting ritual, at least for my husband and I, we did that binding with our blood. We each pricked our finger and we merged it. It's the idea of blood brothers. I don't know how many of you remember that, blood brothers, a pact of blood. It's because that blood is a part of you, and you're connecting yourself energetically and through the blood to that which you are casting for or being a part of. You are still a part of that, whatever that is. So then I consider the type of blood I'm using, whether it's menstrual blood. It may carry certain meanings as opposed to blood from my finger, or blood from my arm, or a nosebleed. Where is that blood originating from in my body? I might consider the correspondence of that as well. It may all ultimately, because it's all blood, it would all carry some of that same life and death correspondences for myself, but it may also carry more depending on where that blood came from in my body. Now, if I'm not using my own blood, if I'm using someone else's blood, or I'm using pig's blood, or blood from another source, I would consider where that blood is coming from and how that blood was obtained. So if it's pig's blood, what does the pig represent? How was that pig's blood gathered? And consider all that energetic frequency that is connected to that pig, that particular pig even. If you are using cow's blood, say you bought a piece of meat and you are going to use the blood from that, consider what that means for you. And it may be different for you than it is for me. We can also consider the law of sympathetic magic, or the law of sympathy, where you don't necessarily have to use actual blood to represent blood in your work. You can create something that looks like or imitates blood. And through the law of sympathy, it would still be successful. So blood does play a part in my own magic, especially if I'm doing magic for myself, especially if I'm trying to seal it or tap into the power that it holds, the power of life and death within, life in general, in my life experience, and what I'm trying to manifest within the magic. So I'm curious, do you use blood in your magic or your spell casting? Why do you use blood? And sort of in what spells or situations do you or would you consider using blood in your magic? So until next time, I love you. Mwah. Blessed be.